everybody, it's Chris Eves, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. This week I went to the movies. There was a big new release, and I don't think anyone's going to go see it, because, you know, it's not supposed to be very good. And I went to see Madam Web. I even went in IMAX, which was not very crowded. I don't think anyone... Like, people didn't want to see this. They're definitely not going to pay IMAX prices for this. But I just wanted to have a better theatrical experience with good picture and sound. Because I knew the movie was not going to be very good. And it was not. I don't mind, comic book logic. You know, I will accept, oh, suddenly you have a new power. That's convenient, but okay, whatever. But... This movie just made so little sense. It was almost insulting. The script is a mess. The villain's motivation is sketchy and it doesn't make sense. And then, the events that unfold are just what? Huh? Why are they... Oh, what? This... how did that happen? Never mind. And you just sort of let it wash over you because it's not going to make a whole lot of sense. And the swooping camera and rapid fire MTV editing is seizure inducing. It's really distracting and not a great artistic choice. The actors are mostly good. Dakota Johnson is fine, although her character isn't terribly likable. The three girls are good. They're entertaining enough. I would have preferred a movie about them. But the villain is terrible. And I don't know if it's because of the actor. I don't know if his acting, or if it's his accent, or the fact that 99% of his dialogue was dubbed over with ADR, and it sounds just flat and awful and what? So it's embarrassing. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know what was wrong with it. It sounds like he had too thick of an accent, so they dubbed him over with somebody with less of an accent, except they were less of an actor, so it was terrible. Unless that's actually his voice, in which case, sorry, but it's not good. It was just oof. And the CGI is some of the worst CGI you'll see in a mainstream, big budget superhero movie. Thankfully, there's not a whole lot of it. I do not recommend this. It's Sony, so it's not coming to any streaming services. It'll come to Stars or whatever. So, I can't even say oh, wait for it to come to streaming. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about seeing it. It was very disappointing. And it also, in the end, it ends up being set up for another movie or movies that might have been better, but it's a 2-hour setup. It's no. It's a long origin story. So, yeah, don't bother. Sorry. As for games... I do continue to play Ring Fit. I'm not playing it every day. I have found that I typically, during a week, will take 1 or 2 days where I wake up in the morning and I'm just I cannot. And I reset my alarm and I go back to sleep for another half hour. But I feel 5 or 6 out of 7 days is still pretty good. So yay for me. I'm sticking with it. And I am going to try and stick with it. I came very close last time, as it turns out, but I'm going to stick with it until I finish that dang story and defeat that dragon. And then the extra stuff is extra, whatever. I didn't mention this last week, but I have been making a lot of progress in Avatar. Last week, actually the week before, I did this really big story mission that I looked up a walkthrough table of contents, and going by the table of contents, that mission falls just about the halfway point. So that's good. I'm just about halfway through the game, but there's still tons of side quests that keep popping up, so that's helpful. I'm still very busy with it. But I'm very glad that I was able to do this main mission in one session, because I had enough time. It was long. There was a lot of stages to it, and I just was like, okay. And I managed to do it in one session, because one of the problems that I have with the Avatar game is the save system. I don't mind that there's only one slot. That's fine. Lots of games do that, you know. But you can't manually save. It only auto-saves. Like, I feel like when you quit back to the main menu, that should auto-save, but I don't know. So I'll basically, like, when I'm getting ready to stop and I'm not sure that I'm going to wake my PlayStation up and come right back to Avatar, if I'm going to, like, go play Disney or something, I will wait until those 3 little dots show up in the corner, and I'll say, okay, now I'm saved, and then I'll quit. But then when you restart, you don't restart right where you left off. You'll restart like over here or over there, or at the entrance or whatever. And it doesn't restart you at the exact same point where you were when it saved. And every single time I start the game, I hear a dialogue, like over the radio. And right now, like for 4 or 5 times, I have been hearing this same dialogue that I heard previously, and then I save my game. And then every time I start my game, it repeats that same dialogue. And I don't know if it's a bug or a feature, because it's for the main mission. So it's like, I would think maybe it's a feature to remind you of the main mission that you are about to do next. Like, it sets it up, you know, because it's like, hey, go and check this out. And it's like, okay, and that's the next mission. But I'm doing side quests right now, and I will also get the dialogue that I had already heard at the end of a side quest. So that makes me feel like it's a bug. And I don't feel like Ubisoft is really going to support this and actually come through with a patch that's going to like fix this. Also, I'm halfway through the game already, so it's a bit late. But it would actually be very nice, because it is super annoying every time I sit down and I load up Avatar and I continue my game. I'm trying to play while this annoying dialogue is playing for like the 5th time, and I'm like, shut up, and there's no way to stop it. So it's really annoying. But yeah. Oh, and I also managed to do, I managed to do one of the RDA facilities, and I did it completely stealthily. I snuck through and did everything. I did not set off the alarms. They did kind of sort of spot me, and I got like the little yellow warnings, but like no one actually like turned red and set off the alarm, and I was able to finish the entire facility. I did technically go through a walkthrough. I did check to see, and they're like, do this, then do that, and then you're done. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I tried to follow that path, and it worked, and I shut everything down, and they all took off. And then when the door opened and I went inside, I got everything that I was supposed to get, all the rewards. So that was cool. Except, after going through all that effort, the rewards, I feel like I keep doing missions and doing side quests, and the rewards I'm getting aren't really that great. Like, I'm not getting armor and weapons and like accessories that are gonna like really level me up. They're just sort of like a little below my level, which is sort of irritating. So I'm kind of like, dang it. So it's making it hard for me to level up, because, as I've said in the previous episode, one of my other problems with the Avatar game is the leveling system. It's requiring you to upgrade your weapons and armor in order to level yourself up. And sometimes that can be a little difficult. Just to finish up, I did want to mention, I don't recall if I mentioned this in a previous episode, but for the past few weeks, there's been these rumors flying around the internets that some Xbox games are going to show up on PlayStation and Switch. And one of them was going to be Starfield, and I was super, super psyched if that was true, that I was going to be able to play Starfield on my PlayStation. I wouldn't have to go buy an Xbox just to play it. But then the person who like spread that rumor was like, hey, my source was wrong. They got their wires crossed, whatever. And now it doesn't seem like that's true. And sure enough, it is true that Microsoft is putting some of its games on other consoles. Like Hi-Fi Rush is going to be on the Switch and whatever. But they're not doing that with Starfield. And I'm like, obviously. I mean, obviously for personal reasons, I would like them to. I don't mind waiting. If they want to make me wait like a year, and like this Christmas, they're like, hey, here's Starfield on the PlayStation. Because it would also make financial sense because they could, you know, there's like twice as many PlayStation 5s out there as Xbox X. So like they would more than double their sales of Starfield if they released it on the PlayStation as well. However, I do understand the logic. Microsoft bought Bethesda with the express purpose of saying, hey, you want to play the next Elder Scrolls game? You want to play the next Bethesda game? Starfield, Indiana Jones? You have to have an Xbox. Like, that's the whole point of buying a studio like that, is to force gamers to buy your system in order to play those games, because this developer makes games people want to play. So, I get it. So I have basically resigned myself to the fact that I'm not going to play Starfield. I'm not even sure it's worth it to like later on when like the price of the system comes down because they're about to release the next Xbox, and you know it's only a couple $100 or $300 or something. I still don't think it's worth it just to play Starfield, but whatever. That's it for this episode. Come back next time and see what I've seen and played and heard and whatever else I want to yammer on about. Bye!